This ain't advice. I'm not your advisor. And as they say in the biz, slap that subscribe button. We're only about 100,000 away from a million. We're almost there. Welcome back. Hope you enjoy the new intro. As you can probably tell by my shirt, I just recorded it. Today we've got our friend Glenn Morangi with us. Let's look at some questions. How to calculate the benefit to refinancing a mortgage if you paid it down by 15% already. Currently looking at refinancing a home you bought last year from 4.625 to 3.5, and you're trying to figure out if it's worth it. You paid the mortgage down a bit last year, $20,000 on an original $160,000 home. Looks like you will spend more on interest if you refi to a 30-year loan, but you drop your payment by $200 a month. Thoughts? Well, I mean, you could always take the lower payment and pay what you're saving faster to get to the same place. So I don't think you'd ever actually be paying more interest. Does that make sense? You know, if you have the payment on whatever schedule's left, 29 years, plus the fact that you paid it down. If you refi to a 30-year mortgage at a much lower rate, you could just keep making those same payments that you're making today. So you'll definitely be saving money. Then the only thing you need to figure out is the ratio of the closing costs to refi versus how much you're saving on 1%. So let's crunch some numbers. All right, so I started making some stuff up, but you said you bought the house for $160,000. I assumed you put 20% down when you bought it. Subtracted $20,000 because you said you paid $20,000 more down. It doesn't really matter if any of these things are right or not. So then, just real simple, and you can actually calculate this way more detail and get the actual numbers. But I said, how much interest are you paying in year one, basically? And because you're paying it down throughout the first 12 months, it's actually going to be a little less than this. But this is good enough for Reddit math. Paying about $5,000 of interest on this big of a mortgage at 4.6, and you're paying this much at 3.5. So a difference between 5,000 and 3,700. Punch that in. It's about $1,200 a year. It's actually going to be a little bit less than that, like I said, because you're paying it down. And it's going to go down each year, but it's not going to go down that fast, at least not for like the next 5 or 10 years. It won't change substantially. So if the costs to do the refi add up to less than this 1,200 number, which again is on the high side, times however many years you're going to remain in the house, then you'd want to keep it. And I mean, if it's really a tough calculation, like maybe you do or don't want to do it, it sounds like you got enough cash so you can pay this thing off pretty darn quick. Actually, let's go back to the question for everybody now that we've seen this. 12:15, there it is. Okay, so there's the question. So if you could refi for free, obviously you should just do it. If you're gonna sell the house next year and it costs you $3,500 in cost to do this refi, then you wouldn't do it because you'd only save $1,200 of interest. So that's the way I'd think about it. And man, you're paying this thing down so fast. I don't know if that $20,000 was a windfall or what, but maybe just pay it down real aggressively. But if you're going to keep the mortgage and you're going to be paying it mostly on this schedule, and it's only going to cost you $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 to refi, or if you're really sure you're going to be in the house for 10 or 15 years with the mortgage, then maybe it makes sense no matter what. But that's how I think about it. And again, you can go to a calculator and get everything actually done period by period. You can put it in an Excel spreadsheet period by period. That's probably the way I would do it. But just that rough and dirty math that you'll be saving $1,000 of interest a year, that's the big thing you should know. Grad grad student, long-term retirement planning versus liquidity and savings account. Too long, didn't read. You're a grad student, funded program, savings, minimal debt. What do you do with the extra cash? Okay, common question. Are you behind if you don't contribute to retirement until real job after school? No, probably not. Is liquidity more useful? Your financial situation could be unstable. Yeah, probably. You're 23, single, and a PhD student in an engineering program, reaching about the halfway point in your studies. Your research assistant and your tuition and fees covered, not bad. And you receive a $24K a year stipend. You work part-time as a contracted engineer, making a few $100 a month. You don't qualify for 401K, that's normal. $3,000 student loans. You pay the interest monthly. How much is the interest? You have no other debt, you own your vehicle, it's a Honda, you got $10K in savings, $7K in a high yield savings account. You're in a good place financially, but you feel like you're falling behind. Yeah, you're definitely falling behind your non-grad school friends. I mean, you're still in school. That's the idea. Will you be behind if you don't start contributing to a retirement account until you start a real job? Is it more useful for you to keep liquidity? Yeah, I would definitely, in that position, want to keep liquidity. And most people that have a job don't really start saving until they're 25 or 26 anyway. Me, when I first started a job, I spent everything on regular expenses, rent, food, etc. It wasn't until you start getting raises that you start being able to save. That's pretty common. Obviously, there's exceptions. You get people that went into banking or accounting or computer science right out of college. They're probably all doing fine. They're probably all saving. But I don't know how an engineering PhD does, but I assume it's pretty good. If you start saving when you get out of school, 25, 26, that won't be a problem. I'd want the flexibility. It depends on what rate the student loan's at, but this $3,000 one, it certainly wouldn't be investing money while you've got a loan out unless it's at extremely low rate. So I'd be thinking about that first, but I don't think you need to worry about falling behind. Confused about ridiculous inheritance. You're very close to your grandparents and they love to spoil you. You've loved them to death. All right, where does this start? Yeah. Okay, a conversation switched their 401k and their will. They showed you the savings in their 401k. They got $4.5 million in 401k. They intend to split it between you, your brother, and your mom. Additionally, they're putting 2 of their condos under your name to receive the paychecks. Are they gifting you the condos? Or you mean when they die? You mean when they die. Okay. So you're looking at receiving about $1.5 million and 2 housing units. This all sounds great, but you're pretty overwhelmed. You don't want the money to go over your head. You want to keep the money and continue to live frugally. What would be the best way to go about this? You don't intend to put the whole thing in one bank account, but you don't know the smart way to go about it. You want to preserve the money. Well, I'll stop there and then I'll read the rest. So, people that do what you want to do successfully, in my experience, they think about whatever they inherit as money for retirement. And maybe even with what they're getting from income from the condos, maybe they even save those into a separate account that they think of for retirement. So we'll keep reading. You wish your grandparents could stay alive longer, but they're starting to get old. Okay. You're 19. Well, they're only 72. You're not planning to have kids. You're 19, dude. You have no idea if you're going to want to have kids. You do plan on marrying your significant other. Yeah, there's also not a really high chance you're going to marry her. I mean, maybe. But you're so young. You got so much time. When you inherit it, there's going to be a whole lot you're going to have to figure out. I don't even know what part you're confused about other than the best way to not start living way above your means, which it sounds like you're already pretty convinced you don't want to do. The 401k, assuming it is a 401k, that's going to come with some tricky tax consequences where you're probably, depending on the way to set it up, going to have to take whatever you get over the next 10 years once you inherit it, and it's all going to be taxable income. So you're going to want to plan around that. You might need some help. And the condos, I mean, those should be pretty straightforward. But are you going to manage them? Do they manage them now? There's going to be a whole bunch of questions. And I mean, they're only 72 or 73. So this might be 20 or 25 years before you get it. So I wouldn't lose any sleep over it.